Let's compare the astrology predictions I made for today to what actually happened. Yesterday, I predicted that the day would be spent reevaluating security measures, and that would have to do with the rising oil prices as well as shifting global alliances, and that despite all of that, the Trump administration would obviously still double down on their bullshit, particularly with the stubborn energy that was activated by the Scorpio-Taurus axis, which I was right about. Which leads us to today. Incoming images, here were today's transits. And here are the predictions I made for today. Let's dive into it. The first thing that I noticed about today's transits was the moon's activity in Sagittarius carrying on from yesterday. So the first part of my prediction for today was that the fire of the evening prior would continue, which of course I was right about. Trump was all over the place with his speech in the Doral Ballroom, saying things like, the war is close to ending, but they are not relenting until the enemy is destroyed. They, of course, continued on with their bullshit today. Pete Hegseth vowed at the beginning of the day that today would be the most intense day of strikes inside Iran yet. This, of course, comes in right as news breaks out that the Pentagon says 140 troops were wounded in Operation Epic Fury. Reportedly, 8 have life-threatening injuries. On a lighter note, I predicted that Vesta in Pisces, as well as Jupiter stationing direct in Cancer, would move the inward expansion that we've been feeling for the last few months collectively into an outward expansion. That water energy coming in to cool down that fire, I immediately saw steam, and I immediately was thinking like steam engine, full engine ahead, giving very radical, revolutionary energy, and so I predicted that today we would see some developments on strikes, protests, walkouts, and or legal pushback against the Trump regime. And yes, obviously I was right about that steamy, angry energy against not just the Trump administration, but furthermore against authoritarianism and late-stage capitalism in general. However, I was right about there being developments in legal action against the Trump administration, as well as developments in strikes and protests. Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel and a coalition of 23 states secured a court order requiring FEMA to promptly take steps necessary to reverse the termination of the BRIC program and thus restore billions in funding to communities relying on them. And the misuse of funds is a big conversation today, again, with the horrific war crimes that the United States is committing with American tax dollars. By the way, if you want to join the tax strike, claim the IOB. So there's that legal pushback I was talking about. In strike developments, the student workers of Columbia United Auto overwhelmingly authorized a potential strike, with 91.5% of union members voting yes. And in Ottawa, high school students walked out to protest the proposed changes Ontario's student financial aid program, saying the changes could leave future students graduating with significantly more debt. On a personal note, I said that today might bring you super intense heated moments and or personal life changes concerning the houses that home Aries, Sagittarius, and Pisces in your birth chart. If that was you, please know that this is to clear the way for bigger, brighter, more aligned opportunities, systems, career, lifestyles, people, etc. How might this play into tomorrow, you may ask? Well, incoming images, pause to read. Here are Wednesday's transits, and here is my astrology guide predictions for Wednesday, March 11th. Basically, I predict that Wednesday the 11th is just going to be about processing out loud, particularly the survival wounds that are coming up with the shakes to security internationally, nationally, communally, collectively, and personally. So if you've been hit with survival wound triggers this week, tomorrow/Wednesday the 11th, there is a fire trine between the moon and Chiron, offering healing medicine, asking us to let go of capitalistic personal expectations and the ways that have shaped our personal identities. TLDR, I put a little note here. The system that we're all forced to participate in/with, depending on where you are in the world, is only made for cis-het white men to succeed. So if you are within that system, you're not a failure for meeting unrealistic expectations. Firstly, show yourself some grace for what you can't do and focus on what you can do. And secondly, build your own expectations that are not based on capitalistic individualism, but instead based on a collectivist understanding of you and your community's reality. Create some actually realistic expectations and show yourself some grace as we are all struggling through this collective rebirth. I do suggest that if you're seeing this Tuesday night and or Wednesday, you do take this moment to process, to do some shadow work concerning all of this, because the revelations that we are being guided towards are going to come up throughout the week and will be tested by the end of the week. So like usual, don't skip your shadow work. Carve 5 minutes out of your day. You don't have to make it a big thing, right? Decolonize your practice. Just take a few minutes of reflection concerning all of this and how it affects you and your community's future. And with that, I think that's the tea, honey. So here is my shadow work prompt of the day as well as mantra of the day for Wednesday, March 11th. If you would like to dive deeper into all of this, I have an astrology breakdown for this entire week up on my blog and or where you read blogs, Inclea's in the IOB. While you are there, please take a look at the action items. We are not free till we're all free, and you know this, or else you wouldn't be watching this entire video. Last but certainly not least, I would love to know your thoughts on any of this, all of this. I would just love to chat with you. Let's be there for each other as this shit's going down, you know? As always, the only way out is through. Sending you so much love.